The sun was setting over the alien colony of Raytheon 4, a dusty mining world far away from Earth. Human engineer Mark Ellison walked through the broken streets, carrying a small toolbox. Every evening he checked the damaged energy towers after the recent attacks. The colony was unstable, unsafe, and full of strange species living together under fear. But Mark had a habit of helping anyone he could. That was just who he was. As he walked near the old storage depot, he heard a soft crying sound. At first, he thought it was a machine leaking steam. But then he heard it again, small, shaky, scared. Mark stopped. Hello? Someone there? Number. Answer. Only crying. He followed the sound behind a collapsed wall. There, sitting alone on the cold ground, was a little alien girl, no more than 8 years old. She had soft fur, bright star-shaped eyes, and thin feline ears. Her small hands were shaking as she hugged her knees tightly. Mark slowly knelt down. Hey. It's okay. I'm not going to hurt you. The girl looked up at him with wide, terrified eyes. Her voice trembled. They came. Monsters came. Everyone ran. I lost my mother. Mark felt something twist in his chest. This colony had been attacked many times by pirates, and many families had been separated. But seeing a little child alone like this, it hit him hard. What's your name? He asked softly. The girl sniffled. Leary. Leary, Mark repeated gently. That's a pretty name. She stared at him as if trying to understand whether he was safe or dangerous. Mark placed his toolbox aside and reached his hand toward her. You're safe now. I'll help you find your family. But the moment he moved, Leary flinched back like a scared animal. Her species was known to be extremely cautious and shy. She probably never met a human before. Mark realized she needed comfort, not questions. He sat down on the ground next to her, far enough so she didn't feel trapped, but close enough so she wasn't alone. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The sky above them darkened as the second moon rose. A cold wind brushed the sand. Leary wiped her tears. Will the monsters come back? Mark smiled gently. Not while I'm here, Leary blinked. You're strong? Mark laughed lightly. Not really, but I try. She stared at him with serious eyes. I'm scared. I know, Mark said softly, but you're very brave for staying here alone. The girl didn't respond, but she shifted a little closer. Mark felt she was beginning to trust him. To distract her, he pointed at her small necklace, a shiny crystal shaped like a moon. That's beautiful. Who gave it to you? My mother, she whispered. She said it protects me. Well, it's doing a great job, Mark said with a smile. You're still here, right? Leary touched the crystal, and for the first time, she smiled a tiny bit. But soon she frowned again. What if I never see her again? Mark hesitated. He didn't want to lie, but he didn't want to scare her either. You will, he said. I'll help you. Leary looked at him with hopeful eyes too innocent for a world as dangerous as HFY. To lighten her mood, Mark decided to joke a little. He pointed at her crystal again and said playfully, When you grow up, Leary, you'll be strong and tall. Maybe even stronger than me. Leary tilted her head. Really? Oh yes, Mark said dramatically. And then who knows? Maybe you'll come back and marry me someday. The moment he said it, he realized it was a silly joke to say to a child. But he just wanted her to smile. He expected her to laugh or ignore it. Instead, Leary froze, her big eyes filled with wonder. Marry you? Mark felt awkward. I mean, it's a joke, little one. Just so you don't cry anymore. But Leary did not laugh. She stood up slowly, wiped her face, and said with surprising seriousness, Promise. Mark's jaw dropped. What? You promise you will wait for me? She asked. Mark scratched his head. Leary, it's just, promise, she repeated, her voice firmer this time. Mark sighed gently. He didn't want to break her fragile heart. She was alone, scared, and hanging on to any little hope. "Okay," he said softly. "I promise." Leary's face lit up. Her ears twitched with happiness. Suddenly, loud footsteps echoed nearby. A group of alien soldiers in silver armor rushed to them. "There!" One shouted. "The lost child," Leary gasped. "That's my mother's guards." The soldiers lifted her gently. "We must evacuate you now. Pirates may return." Leary looked at Mark desperately as they carried her away. "I'll come back," she shouted. "When I'm big, don't forget." Mark waved, smiling nervously. "Sure, I'll remember." But inside, he thought he would never see her again. As the soldiers disappeared into the dust, Mark turned to leave, unseen by him. A tall figure stepped out of the shadows, armor black, eyes burning with hate. "So," the figure whispered coldly, "a human dares make a promise with the feline air." The figure raised a communicator. "Begin the hunt. The human must never meet her again." Mark walked away, unaware that his simple joke had just started a war. Asterisk years passed like wind across empty planets. Mark Ellison returned to Earth, built a quiet life, and slowly forgot the strange little alien girl named Leary. The colony attack became just another memory, buried under years of work and duty. But Leary did not forget. The girl who grew into a warrior far away on the moonworld Valorous 3. Leary grew up under strict training. Her species, the Feliari, were elite fighters, fast, sharp, and born with a powerful instinct. After the attack on Rathian 4, her mother sent her to a special academy to protect her. But every night, Leary looked at the moon-shaped crystal hanging on her neck and whispered, "I'll find you, Mark, you promised." Her mother thought it was a childish habit. The instructors thought it was silly. But Leary took that promise as seriously as life itself. As she grew older, she trained harder than anyone. She mastered hand-to-hand combat, strategy, starship piloting, and ancient Feliari traditions. While others trained for pride or honor, Leary trained for one goal: to return to the human who comforted her in the darkest moment of her life. But someone was watching. The Shadow Council, an ancient group of elites within her species, believed that Leary's destiny was dangerous. A prophecy spoke of a union between a Feliari heir and a human one that could unite two great civilizations. They feared such unity. So they plotted. They watched her movements, and they waited for the day she went searching for the human. So they could end both of them. Back on Earth, something strange begins. Mark worked as a system engineer for the Earth Alliance space program. His life was simple. Wake up, drink black coffee, fix machines, return home to old music and a quiet apartment. He never married, never fully settled. Some said he was waiting for someone without even realizing it. One morning, while checking the reactor status reports, his datapad beeped with a priority message. Not a normal message. Not even a military alert. A message directly from the Galactic Council headquarters. Mark frowned. Why would the Council contact me? I'm nobody. He opened the message. To human Mark Ellison, a warrior of the Feliari species is searching for you. Her request is classified as urgent. You are to remain in your sector until further notice. Mark blinked. A Feliari warrior? Looking for me? Why? His friend and co-worker, Daniel, laughed. Maybe it's a bounty hunter. Did you forget to pay your space taxes? Mark tried to laugh too, but something felt wrong. A Feliari warrior was no joke. They were known to be extremely powerful and extremely serious about their missions. He shook his head. No, it couldn't be her. That was years ago. She was just a kid. The warning later that day, he returned home. As he entered his apartment, the lights flickered strangely. His AI assistant turned on by itself. Mark, the AI said, you have received a second message. It is unregistered. Unregistered? Mark repeated. From who? Unknown origin. It was sent through. A Feliari encryption key. Mark's heart skipped a beat. He opened it. A single line appeared in glowing blue text. I'm coming. That was all. No name. No signature. But something deep in his memory whispered a possibility. Could it be Leary? He sighed. You're imagining things. She must be an adult now. Why would she come to Earth for me? The AI suddenly flashed red lights. Mark, incoming alert. A large vessel has entered Earth's border space. Mark froze. What kind of vessel? Feliari warship class. Carrier. He felt the blood drain from his face. The sky changes across Earth. Alarms blared. News channels screamed. Unidentified warship in Earth orbit. Earth Defense initiates emergency protocols. Feliari ship refuses to respond to hails. People rushed into shelters. The Earth Defense Fleet launched fighters. Mark ran to his balcony, staring at the sky as a gigantic shadow slowly covered the clouds. The glowing shape of a Feliari battleship appeared, sleek, black, and deadly. His communicator buzzed violently. It was Earth Command. Mark Ellison. A stern voice said, "You are ordered to report to Base Orion immediately." Why me? Mark demanded. You know exactly why, the officer snapped. Something in your past has brought this warship here. Mark's hands trembled. Somewhere above Earth, someone was calling for him. Someone who believed he belonged to her. Someone. He made a promise too. Inside the warship, meanwhile, inside the massive ship above Earth, Leary stood in full warrior armor. She looked nothing like the little girl from RATA, Ion-4. Her hair was longer, her eyes sharper, her presence powerful. She watched Earth through the viewport, her heart beating fast. Mark, she whispered gently, touching the necklace he once admired. I'm finally here. Her second in command, a tall Feliari male, spoke nervously. Lady Leary. The Council won't approve of this. Bringing a warship to human space. Let them come, Leary said coldly. I will protect the human. No one will stop me. She closed her eyes. She could almost hear his voice, the warmth he showed her, the promise he made. He probably thought it was a joke, but to her, it was everything. The threat that follows unseen. Behind her ship, space shimmered. 3 dark vessels belonging to the Shadow Council stealthily followed, preparing for an attack. Their goal was simple. Kill the human before Leary can reach him. And eliminate Leary if she tries to protect him. Silent war was about to begin. And Mark had no idea that his life was about to change forever. The world changed in a single hour. The peaceful blue sky of Earth turned dark as a massive shadow spread across the clouds. It was not a natural storm. It was a warship, sleek, black, silent like a giant blade floating above the planet. Mark Ellison stood on the military transport shuttle taking him to Base Orion, still trying to understand why a Feliari warrior would come for him. Maybe they got the wrong person. He whispered to himself, but deep inside, he knew the truth. He had made a promise. A stupid joke, yet serious to someone who never forgot. The shuttle landed. Soldiers surrounded him immediately. Mark Ellison? Yes, you will come with us. Command is waiting. They didn't treat him like a criminal. They treated him like a target. Mark felt sweat on his palms. Can someone please explain why an alien warship is here for me? The lead officer looked at him coldly. Because it sent a message. One line only. He handed Mark a tablet. Release the human named Mark Ellison. He belongs to us. Mark's heart dropped. Belongs to them? What does that mean? The officer didn't answer. Maybe he didn't know. Earth defense on the brink inside Base Orion. Tension filled the air. Screens showed the Feliari ship hovering in low orbit. Thousands of smaller drones floated around it, like metallic birds. General, Reeves slammed his fist on the table. They've crossed every border protocol. If they attack, Earth will fall before we can respond. A young lieutenant stuttered, "Sir, the Faliari ship refuses all communication, only repeating one request for the human." Everyone turned to stare at Mark as he entered the briefing room. General Reeves glared at him. "Ellison, what in the galaxy did you do?" Mark raised both hands helplessly. I don't know. I met a little Faliari girl years ago during a colony evacuation, but—" "A little girl?" Reeves shouted. "You mean the princess of the Faliari clans?" Mark's legs nearly gave out. Princess? She was just a kid." "How would I know?" "That?" The room went silent. Because if she was a princess, and now she was a warrior, then her coming personally with a warship meant something dangerous, something personal. The warship makes its move above Earth. Leary stood at the command deck of her ship. Her armor glowed faintly, matching the color of her eyes, sharp, determined. "Prepare landing craft," she ordered. "I'm going to the surface." Her second-in-command looked terrified. "Lady Leary, going alone is too risky." She placed her hand on the moon-shaped crystal Mark once admired. "I waited long enough. I will not hide behind shields. If humans fear me, I will face them myself." She walked toward the drop chamber, her steps controlled and calm, yet her heartbeat strong with emotion. She had dreamed of this moment for many years. Behind her, a shadowy signal flashed on a hidden communicator, unknown to her. "Stage 2 in motion," said a cold voice. "Target, the human." The Shadow Council was close. The descent at Base Orion. Alarms screamed again. "General, the alien warship has launched a dropship. It's entering the atmosphere. Estimated landing, 2 minutes." "General." Reeves turned to the soldiers. "All units prepare for defense." But before the soldiers could move, Mark stepped forward. "Wait. Don't attack her." Reeves grabbed his collar. "Why? Give me one good reason." Mark swallowed hard. "Because I think she's coming for me, not for Earth." Reeves stared at him. "If you don't talk right now, Earth may start a war." Mark took a deep breath. "Years ago, when she was a scared child, I made a joke. I told her that when she grows up, she should come find me, and everyone leaned closer." "And what?" Reeves demanded. Mark whispered, ashamed, "That I'd marry her." The entire room went silent. A lieutenant dropped his tablet. Another officer faced PLMED. General Reeves simply closed his eyes. "You," he said slowly, "are the stupidest man alive." The impact zone outside the base, the ground shook. Wind blasted across the desert. A glowing sphere dropped from the sky, burning with atmospheric fire before slowing near the ground. Soldiers aimed their weapons. Mark felt his heart pounding. Sphere landed gently. It opened. A tall figure stepped out, shining armor, feline features, sharp eyes glowing like molten gold. The alien warrior. The grown version of the little girl he once comforted. The princess of her people. She looked directly at Mark. The soldiers braced for violence. General Reeves whispered, "Hold fire." The warrior walked closer, her armor humming with power. Mark stepped forward, trembling. "Leary?" She stopped, only a meter from him. Her eyes softened instantly. "Mark," she whispered, voice trembling with joy. "I found you." Mark swallowed hard. "You grew up." Her ears twitched. "You said you would wait." Soldiers gasped. General Reeves nearly collapsed, but before anyone could react, a sudden explosion ripped through the sky. Everyone looked. Up, 3 dark ships uncloaked above Earth, sleek and deadly. The Shadow Council had arrived. Mark didn't understand. Leary did. Her voice became cold. "They followed me." She grabbed Mark's arm and pulled him close. "Get behind me. They didn't come for Earth. They came to kill you." Asterisk dust swirled across the landing field as the alien warrior stood between Mark and the soldiers. Her armor gleamed under the harsh desert sun, white gold plates with blue energy veins, shaped perfectly to her tall, powerful body. Her feline tail moved slowly behind her, tense and ready. For a moment, Earth's entire military froze. No one fired, no one moved. Everyone simply stared. General Reeves whispered to his officers, "God help us." The little girl grew into a storm. Mark swallowed hard. His heart raced not from fear, but shock. The tiny child he once rescued now looked like a legendary commander. Leary finally spoke, her voice calm but strong. "I have come for the human named Mark Ellison." Soldiers lifted their rifles again, unsure if she meant harm. Leary's eyes narrowed sharp, golden, glowing. "Lower your weapons," she warned, "or I will remove them myself." The threat was soft, but the power behind it was unmistakable. The energy around her armor hummed like a silent storm. Mark quickly stepped between her and the soldiers. "Wait! Don't attack her. She's not here to hurt anyone." Leary's expression softened instantly when she looked at him. Her voice changed gentle, almost emotional. "Mark, you're safe. I came as fast as I could." Mark blinked. "You really came for me?" She stepped closer, her ears lowering slightly, a sign of affection in her species. "You kept me alive when I thought the world would end. You held my hand. You promised me I would not be alone." Mark felt heat rush to his face. Behind him, soldiers whispered, "Is she in love? This can't be real. We're so dead." General Reeves shoved forward. "Alien warrior, this is Earth territory. State your purpose." Leary didn't look away from Mark. "I have no conflict with Earth," she said. "My only mission is the human standing before me." Reeves grimaced. Why him?" Leary turned her head slowly, eyes glowing with meaning. "When I was a child, he made a vow with me." Mark almost choked. "Leary, please don't say it like that. Too late." Leary continued proudly. "He vowed that when I grew up, he would marry me." The base went silent again. Then chaos. A soldier in the back whispered, "Bro, what kind of promises does this man make?" Another muttered, "Humanity's doom." One man flirted with the wrong species. General Reeves rubbed his forehead. "Ellison, you unbelievable idiot." Mark's face turned red. "I was just trying to make a child stop crying." Leary blinked. "Innocently. It worked. I stopped crying." Mark groaned, but before the moment could turn awkward, a loud rumble shook the air. Everyone turned upward. The Shadow Council attacks. 3 black ships descended from the clouds, silent, sharp, shaped like predatory birds. Their hulls had no symbols, no lights, only a cold darkness. They looked nothing like Leary's ship. Leary's face changed instantly. Rage flashed in her eyes. "The Shadow Council," she hissed. "They followed me." General Reeves stepped back. "Who are they?" Leary's claws slid out of her armored gloves. "Murderers. Traitors. They want to erase the prophecy of our 2 species uniting." Mark blinked. "Prophecy?" Leary stepped protectively in front of him. "They believe our bond is dangerous. They believe you and I are a threat to the old order, so they plan to kill you." Mark froze. "Kill me? Why me?" Leary lowered her voice. "Because I chose you." The words stunned him, but the attack came fast. The 3 shadow ships opened fire. Beams of dark energy shot downward. Earth's defense cannons lit up the sky. Explosions thundered across the base, throwing soldiers into cover. Alarms screamed everywhere. I grabbed Mark's wrist and pulled him behind her armor. "Stay with me." 2 drones shot toward them. Leary's armor flared blue energy shields, snapping to life around her body. The blasts hit her shield and spread into glowing arcs of light. Mark stared in shock. "Your armor? It absorbs energy?" Leary smirked. "Slightly. It is bound to my bloodline. Only I can use it." She stepped forward and slammed her palm into the ground. A shockwave erupted. Dust, fire, and metal flew apart as drones crashed. Mark had never seen anything like it. She was terrifying. She was beautiful. She was unstoppable, but the enemy ships kept firing. Earth was losing. The Shadow Council was too advanced, too prepared, too ruthless. General Reeves shouted, "We need air support, now." Leary ignored him. She lifted Mark off the ground with surprising gentleness. "We must leave. They're targeting you specifically." Mark's heartbeat thundered. "Why am I so important?" Leary met his eyes gold glowing softly. "Because you are my chosen. Because I claimed you years ago. Because our connection breaks the Shadow Council's ancient power." Mark blinked. "But breaks their power? How?" Leary hesitated, then whispered, "Because together, you and I can awaken something they fear." Before Mark could ask what she meant, one of the black ships pointed its cannon directly at them. Leary moved, instantly, shield unfolding. Eyes blazing, she whispered one more thing. "Mark, stay behind me. I won't lose you again." And she prepared to fight an entire armada. Alone. The battlefield shook with thunder as the Shadow Council ships unleashed their next wave of attacks. The ground cracked, buildings trembled, and flames rolled across the desert. Soldiers ran for cover while Earth defense fighters scrambled into the sky. But at the center of it all stood Leary, her body glowing with blue-golden power shielding Mark from every blast. "Why are they doing this?" Mark shouted over the explosions. Leary didn't turn. Her eyes remained locked on the 3 enemy ships circling overhead. "They want you dead," she said quietly. "They've wanted it since the day we met." Mark felt a chill run down his spine. "Why?" "I was just a mechanic on a broken colony." "Not to them," Leary said. "To them, you became part of a prophecy." Mark stared at her. "Prophecy? What prophecy?" Leary finally turned to him, her armor glowing brighter as another beam smashed into her shield. "It started 1,000 years ago," she said. "An ancient Filiari oracle spoke of a future where one of our royal heirs would form a bond with a human, a bond so strong that it would unite the 2 great species and break the Shadow Council's power forever." Mark blinked. "Me? I was a random stranger. A guy with a toolbox." Leary shook her head. "You don't understand. You saved me. You comforted me. You reached into my fear and changed my life." Her voice softened. "That was the moment the prophecy chose you." Mark felt his heart pound harder. This was so far beyond anything he could understand. "Okay," he said. "Oh, how does a prophecy turn into someone sending ships to kill me?" Leary's tail flicked with anger. "Because if our bond is fulfilled, the Shadow Council loses control. My people will no longer follow their ancient rules. They will no longer fear their traditions. The Council will disappear. And they're willing to kill me for that?" "They're willing to kill both of us," Leary corrected. Another explosion roared behind them. Earth soldiers ducked. Leary took the blast with her shield and didn't flinch. General Reeves approached, coughing through dust. "Ellison, alien warrior, if you have something to explain, now is the time." Leary spoke without looking at him. "Your world is not the target, only Mark." Reeves froze. "What? Why him?" "He's just a maintenance engineer." "Not to us," Leary said. "To my bloodline, he's the chosen partner." Reeves stared at Mark like he was seeing an alien for the first time. "Allison, what the hell did you do?" Mark covered his face. "I told a child a joke," Reeves muttered. "And now the galaxy is breaking because of it." The Shadow Council reveals itself. One of the dark ships descended closer. A hologram flickered open above the battlefield. A tall Feliari figure appeared, black armor, glowing. Red eyes and the coldest expression Mark had ever seen. "Princess Leary," the figure said. His voice was sharp, as if carved from metal. "Return to your ship. Hand over the human. This is your final warning." Leary's claws slid out with a metallic hiss. "Counselor Varek." You sent assassins to my academy. You destroyed my training vessel in orbit. You tried to erase Mark from every record, Varric smirked. And we almost succeeded until you brought him into the open. Leary stepped forward, shielding Mark with her entire body. You will not touch him. Varric tilted his head. He is a human, weak, insignificant. Why protect him? Leary bared her fangs. Because he is mine. Mark almost fainted. Soldiers tried very hard not to react. Varric's eyes narrowed. Then you betray your species. The prophecy must never come to pass. Mark finally found his voice. What's so bad about the prophecy? What are you afraid of? Varric looked directly at him, and for a moment, Mark felt true malice, cold, ancient, and powerful. We fear unity, Varric said. We fear change. We fear that a human will influence the royal bloodline and destroy old traditions. Our rule depends on division, on fear, on purity. So, you want to kill me because I'm human? Mark asked quietly. Exactly, Varric replied. Mark clenched his fists. He was no warrior, no hero, just an engineer. But hearing someone speak about him like he was nothing, it hurt. Leary sensed his emotions. She placed her hand on his shoulder. You are not nothing. You saved me when no one else could. They know your kindness is your strength. Var raised his hand. The dark ship's cannons charged. This is your final chance, princess, he said. Hand over the human. Or Earth will burn, Mark whispered to Leary. You should go. You shouldn't risk yourself for me. She turned to him, eyes glowing with fierce emotion. I waited my whole life to find you again. She touched the necklace he admired long ago. I trained to protect you. To stand by your side, I will not leave. He swallowed hard. Leary, why is this so important to you? Her expression softened, sad and beautiful. Because when I was a frightened little girl, you were the first person who treated me like I mattered. Her voice trembled. You became my promise, my strength, my hope, my future. Mark felt his chest tighten down. Before either of them could speak again, Varric raised his arm. Fire. The Shadow Council ships unleashed their full power. But Leary did something no one expected. She grabbed Mark, held him close, and whispered, It's time. I will awaken the ancient power. The power only we can unlock together. The ground began to glow beneath them. The air crackled. Leary's armor blazed like a star. The prophecy was waking up. Asterisk for a split second. The entire battlefield froze. Then the sky exploded with fire. The Shadow Council ships unleashed 3 massive beams of dark energy, black lightning wrapped in red flame, aimed directly at Leary and Mark. Soldiers screamed. Earth cannons fired wildly. The ground shook like the planet was tearing in half. But Leary did not run. She wrapped both arms around Mark, pulled him close, and whispered in a trembling voice, Do not fear me. Trust me. Before Mark could respond, the ground beneath their feet lit up with ancient blue symbol circles, runes, flowing lines like a forgotten language waking from sleep. The air became electric. Mark's skin prickled with power. Leary's armor glowed brighter, hotter, almost blinding. What's happening? Mark shouted. Leary's eyes turned completely golden. Her voice deepened like 2 voices speaking at once. The prophecy is calling us. The awakening, the 3 energy beams struck Leary's shield, but instead of breaking, the shield absorbed them. The blue symbols spread up her legs, across her armor, then onto Mark's arms. His whole body tingled as if invisible threads were weaving around him. Mark panicked. Leary, I'm not a fighter. Whatever this is, I can't control it. You don't need to control it, she said softly. Just stay with me. The lights grew brighter, so bright even the Shadow Council ships hesitated. Inside the command ship, Counselor Varric stared in fear. No, he whispered. Not that power. Not the royal bond. It was sealed centuries ago. Another officer yelled. Counselor. The energy reading is rising beyond measurable limits. Varek slammed his claws on the console. So the prophecy was true after all. The royal bond activitesse. Lyri lifted her hand. Mark felt her grip tighten around his dot, then he felt something else. A warm surge rising from their joined hands, flowing through both bodies like a river of starlight. A bond. Old. Powerful. Alive. Mark gasped. Lyri, what is this? Lyri looked into his eyes, breath trembling. It is our connection. The bond that formed when you comforted me as a child. It never died. It only slept. Mark swallowed hard. And now? And now, Lyri whispered. It wakes. The ground cracked. A dome of blue-gold energy burst outward from the two of them like a shockwave. Soldiers fell back. Ships staggered. Even the clouds split apart. The Shadow Council beams bent, then shattered like glass. Earth's battlefield went silent. All eyes stared at them. At the human and the alien girl he once comforted, standing in the center of a glowing crater, holding hands. Wrapped in ancient power. The attack intensifies, but the Shadow Council was not finished. Varek roared. All ships fire everything. Hundreds of drones descended like a black swarm. The three main ships opened. Every cannon port they had. Missiles, lasers, energy bombs all rained down toward Earth. General Reeves shouted, "Everyone take cover." This is the end, Mark's heart thundered. He felt Lyri shaking, her shield flickering under the strain. Lyri, you can't protect us from all of that, he cried. Lyri gritted her teeth. I will, even if it destroys me. Her armor surged. Energy spread out like wings behind her, blue gold, shimmering. But she was struggling. Then something unexpected happened. The energy that had wrapped around Mark suddenly moved again, this time gathering in his chest, his arms, his hands. His veins glowed faint blue. Mark gasped. I feel it too. Lyri's eyes widened with hope. Double quotes. Yes, Mark. The bond is responding to you. But what do I do? He shouted. Lir. I grabbed both of his hands. Don't think. Just feel. Feel the promise you made to me. Feel why you kept it. Mark closed his eyes. He remembered the scared little girl on a broken colony. He remembered her tears. Her tiny voice asking him to promise. And the way her eyes lit up when he said yes. Not because of love, but because she needed hope. Mark opened his eyes, now glowing blue. I won't let them take you, he whispered. Not after everything you survived. The energy burst upward, the turning of the battle. A second shield formed, this one from Mark. But it didn't look like Lyri's shield. It was raw, rough, unstable like a newborn star. Lyri stared in amazement. You awakened your side of the bond, Mark blinked. My side? Yes, we share the power. Only together can we use it fully. The Shadow Council fleet unleashed a barrage of fire, but Mark lifted his hands instinctively. A wall of glowing energy shot upward, half blue, half gold, blocking everything. Missiles exploded harmlessly. Lasers bent off path. Bombs dissolved. In midair, Earth soldiers gaped. General Reeves whispered, "This can't be real. The human is fighting back." Mark and Lyri fight together. Lyri stepped beside him, armor blazing. Mark, let's finish this. He nodded. Together, they raised their hands toward the sky. Light surged. A massive beam of blue-gold energy shot upward. Like a spear thrown by God's. It blasted straight into the nearest Shadow Council ship. The ship detonated. In a brilliant white explosion, pieces scattering through the sky. The battlefield roared. Earth soldiers cheered. Pilots screamed in disbelief. Even General Reeves muttered, "Holy hell." But Lyri's face darkened. "That was only one," she whispered. "Two remain." Mark wiped sweat from his brow. "Can we do that again?" Lyri nodded slowly. "Yes. But the bond drains our energy. We cannot keep using it forever. Mark looked into her eyes. Then let's use it fast. Leary's tail flicked her species' version of a fierce smile. Very well. My chosen human. Mark turned red. Leary. Seriously, not the time. But she only pulled him closer as the remaining 2 ships charged their cannons. And together, hand in hand, they faced the storm. The Shadow Council's last move inside his ship. Varek stared at the destruction in furious disbelief. The prophecy. It's stronger than expected. His claws trembled. We must eliminate the human now. His officers panicked. But our main cannons are damaged, Varek snarled. Then ram the ship into him, if you must. The remaining 2 ships turned sharply. Everyone on Earth watched in horror as the massive vessels began a suicide. Dive straight toward Mark. Leary's breath stopped. Mark, get behind me. But Mark did something unexpected. He stepped in front of her. Double quotes, no. I protect you too. Light exploded around them as they prepared to face the deadliest strike yet. The battle for Earth, for their bond, for their future, was just beginning. The 2 remaining Shadow Council warships dived toward the desert base like falling mountains. Their engines screamed. Their hulls burned from re-entry. Their cannons glowed with the fire of a last suicidal attack. General Reeves stared at the sky in horror. They're going to ram the base. The blast will wipe out everything at 100 kilometers. Soldiers ran, sirens wailed. Earth's defense. Cannons overheated and shut down. There was no stopping the ships. Except for the 2 beings standing together in the center of the battlefield. Mark and Leary, hand in hand. Bond awakened. Hearts steady. Leary pulled Mark close as the wind grew violent. Mark, this is the final strike. If we fail, the Shadow Council wins. Earth dies, and so do we. Mark didn't look away from the falling ships. Then we won't fail. Leary blinked, soft, emotional. You are braver than you know. Mark smiled. Sadly, you're the one who trained for this. But you, she whispered, squeezing his hand, are the reason I became strong. The world around them glowed again, those ancient symbols swirling across the ground like a giant breathing map. Their bond reacted to their emotions, to their unity, to their courage, to their connection. The prophecy was ready. The final clash as the first Shadow Council ship neared impact range. Mark felt the energy build in his chest. It was overwhelming, hot, bright, alive. Leary, I can't control it. You don't need to, she said softly. Just stay with me. She placed both hands on Mark's face, their foreheads almost touching. When I was a child, Leary whispered, you gave me hope. Now, give me strength. Light flared between them. Blue from her. Gold from him. The colors merged into a swirling vortex of pure energy. Beautiful and terrifying. The falling ship opened fire. Missiles, lasers, shock rounds. Mark raised his hand. The energy formed a shield before he even thought about it. The blasts shattered against the shield. Like sparks hitting steel. Lir, I stepped forward. Her claws extended. Her armor wings spread wide. Together, Mark, together. They lifted their joined hands toward the sky. The world turned white. An enormous beam of blue gold. Light burst upward, a pillar reaching all the way into the stratosphere. It struck the first warship dead center. The ship didn't explode, it disintegrated, breaking apart into drifting dust and glowing fragments that fell like ashes across the desert. Everyone on Earth stared in silent disbelief. General Reeves could only whisper, "My God." The human and the alien just saved the planet. The final ship, seeing its end, tried to retreat. Varek appeared on the fading hologram, screaming, "No, this cannot happen. The prophecy must die. The bond must die." Leary stepped forward, eyes glowing like suns. "It already lives." Mark added, "And it's stronger than your fear." Together, they unleashed the final surge. A second beam launched upward. Powerful, controlled, perfect. The last Shadow Council ship vanished in a flash of blue-gold light. The sky cleared. The battlefield fell silent. Earth was safe. After the battle, the moment of truth dust drifted across the broken desert base. Soldiers slowly emerged from bunkers. Many stared at Mark with awe or confusion. Or fear, but Leary didn't care. She turned to Mark with trembling lips. "You survived because you trusted me." Mark laughed softly, exhausted. "I trusted you because you never stopped believing in me." Leary pressed her forehead against his an intimate gesture in her culture. "Mark, am I allowed to ask now?" He froze. He knew exactly what she meant. "When I was a little girl," Leary whispered, voice shaking, "I asked you to promise. I asked you to wait for me." A soft smile touched her lips. "You kept that promise, even without knowing, and I came back. Because that hope kept me alive." Mark swallowed the lump in his throat. "I never thought you'd remember that." "Joke," he said quietly. Leary's ears lowered slightly, her eyes soft and glowing. "It was not a joke to me. It was the first kindness I ever received, and now." She took a deep breath. "Now I ask again, with my whole heart." She placed her hand over his. "Will you remain by my side, Mark? Not because of a prophecy, but because you want to." Mark looked at her, really looked at her, not as the child he once helped. Not as the warrior who saved Earth, but as the person who crossed the galaxy for him, who trusted him, who fought for him. Slowly, he smiled. "Yes, Leary," he whispered. "I'll stay by your side." Her eyes widened with pure joy. "Then, the promise," she breathed, "is fulfilled." The new beginning. As the Earth's sun set, the sky shone with warm colors, orange fire blending with soft blue. Leary's ship descended slowly, its lights glowing welcoming light. Mark and Leary stood together, facing the new horizon, two worlds connected by fate. General Reeves approached, clearing his throat awkwardly. "Ellison, you're free to go with her. Earth owes you both a debt we can't repay." Mark nodded. "Thank you, sir." Leary reached for Mark's hand, this time not out of fear or desperation or destiny, but out of love. They walked toward her ship together. Two silhouettes, two species. One bond that survived childhood, war, prophecy, and death. As the ship doors closed behind them, Leary whispered with a shy smile, "Mark, our future begins now." And the ship rose toward the stars, leaving Earth behind, carrying a human and a princess, whose promise changed the galaxy forever.